Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another section of our series on accountability. Today we are talking about our need for support. For those of you that are following along at home in your own Bibles, we will be looking at 2 Samuel chapter 23, verses 8 through 23. As always, we do have a couple icebreaker questions. So the first question is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being playing it safe, 10 being risk it all. How much of a daredevil were you as a kid? I definitely didn't play it safe as a kid. But I don't think I would have risked it all. I think I was maybe a 6 or 7. I was leaning towards the riskier side, but nothing over the top, nothing too extreme, as it were. So, somewhere in that range. What about you all? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being completely, how much of a daredevil were you as a kid? Let me know in the comments below. Number 2, or second icebreaker question. What story of some great exploit has been told over and over in your family? Honestly, I can't think of one. Yeah, I can't think of a single one. There's definitely stories that have been told over and over again, like when my dad and his brother drove out to Las Vegas and ate nothing but Hostess fruit pies along the way, used a parking garage as a bathroom, just weird things like that, but nothing, shall we say, exploitative. So I got nothing. What about you all? What story of some great exploit has been told over and over in your family? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, we will get to the reading. Again, we are in 2 Samuel chapter 23, verse 8 through verse 23. Listen now for the word of our Lord. These are the names of David's mighty men: Dosheb, Bashabeth, a Tachemonite, man, I should have practiced these before, was chief of the 3. He raised his spear against 800 men, whom he killed in one encounter. Next to him was Eleazar, son of Dodai the Ahohite. As one of the 3 mighty men, he was with David when they taunted the Philistines gathered at Pasdammim for battle. Then the men of Israel retreated, but he stood his ground and struck down the Philistines till his hand grew tired and froze to the sword. The Lord brought about a great victory that day. The troops returned to Eleazar, but only to strip the dead. Next to him was Shammah, son of Agi, the Hararite. When the Philistines banded together in a place where there was a field full of lentils, Israel's troops fled from them. But Shammah took his stand in the middle of the field. He defended it and struck the Philistines down, and the Lord brought about a great victory. During harvest time, 3 of the 30 chief men came down to David at the cave of Adullam, while a band of Philistines was encamped in the valley of Rephaim. At that time, David was in the stronghold, and the Philistine garrison was at Bethlehem. David longed for water and said, "Oh, that someone would get me a drink of water from the well near the gate of Bethlehem." So the three mighty men broke through the Philistine lines, drew water from the well near the gate of Bethlehem, and carried it back to David. But he refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out before the Lord. "Far be it from me, O Lord, to do this," he said. "Is it not the blood of men who went at the risk of their lives?" And David would not drink it. Such were the exploits of the three mighty men. Abishai, the brother of Joab, son of Zeruiah, was chief of the three. He raised his spear against 300 men whom he killed, and so he became as famous as the three. Was he not held in greater honor than the three? He became their commander, even though he was not included among them. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was a valiant fighter from Kabzeel, who performed great exploits. He struck down 2 of Moab's best men. He also went down into a pit on a snowy day and killed a lion. And he struck down a huge Egyptian. Although the Egyptian had a spear in his hand, Benaiah went against him with a club. He snatched the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. Such were the exploits of Benaiah, son of Jehoiada. He too was as famous as the three mighty men. He was held in greater honor than any of the 30, but he was not included among the three. And David put him in charge of his bodyguard. This is the word of our Lord. Thanks be to God. The first question we have is, what title would you give the listing of this passage? Israel's ancient all-stars, David's daring dudes, God's gladiators, 30 thugs, or something else? Well, I mean, the title is David's Mighty Men. I think I would just stick with that, quite honestly. I don't know if I wouldn't necessarily call them all-stars, but that might be a cop-out answer, but I think that Mighty Men is just a great title. It just is. Really rolls off the tongue. So that's my opinion, though. What about you all? Do you think that maybe they deserve a different title? And if so, what? Let me know in the comments below. Number 2. What do these guys sound like to you? Fearless warriors? Faithful friends? Tough as nails? Superheroes? Green berets? Or something else? To me, they sound like the Israelite equivalent of the Navy SEALs or the Army Rangers. Like this very elite troop of soldiers. So, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, those that have received advanced training in their militaristic field and have potentially more covert missions, tougher missions, but they are tougher as a result. Definitely I could see fearless warriors. I mean, to me they sound like elite soldiers, the best of the best, so I guess Green Berets. That's my opinion, though. What about you all? What do these guys sound like to you? Let me know in the comments below. Number 3, which exploit by the men in this passage impresses you the most? Josheb-Basshebeth, killing 800 men in one encounter. Eleazar, fighting so long and hard that his hand froze to his sword. Shammah, standing alone in battle. The life-risking escapades of 3 men to get David some special water. Or something, maybe someone else. I think out of those 3, and they're all kind of impressive, but I guess the one that sticks out to me the most is Eleazar. I honestly can't imagine fighting so long that, I mean, even if it's not like cold out and your hand, okay, freezes to metal, whatever like that, more that your hand is clenched for so long that the muscles just are temporarily paralyzed. To me, that seems like a very long battle for that to happen. One that he may not be standing alone, but he is fighting for a very long time, and that maybe near or even above 800 people killed at one go. I don't know. Eleazar, I feel, is the one that sticks out most to me. What about you all? Which of these 3 sticks out most to you? Let me know in the comments below. Number 4. What do you think made David's mighty men so mighty? A team spirit? Brute strength? Good leadership? Superior strategy? Individual heroics? Willpower and determination? God's favor? Or something else? So what made them so mighty? For me, I imagine them being just these absolute mountains of muscle, so it may very well be their size, their strength, just their brute force. But at the same time, I would have to say, the team spirit, even if they're not fighting together in the same battle per se, they're on the same team. They're fighting for that same cause. They're so dedicated to the cause and therefore the team fighting for that cause that they're fearless. They are mighty. They will not let anything stand in their way of achieving this goal. That's what I think makes them mighty. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. Number 5, who have been the mighty men who have fought at your side over the years? My wife isn't a man, but she has definitely stayed by my side through thick and thin since we have met. We met almost 5 years ago. So, for 5 years, she has stuck by my side. Same thing with my friend Hannah, who I've known for 5 years. My friend Matt, who I've known for almost 8 years. Wow. Weird to think that it's been that long. But those are definitely the mighty men that come to my mind. They've stuck with me through thick and thin. They've always been a help to me in my time of need. Yeah. What about you all? Who have been the mighty men in your life? Let me know in the comments below. Number 6, in what group have you felt closest to and most supported by in your life? Church, youth group, a sports team, a military unit, family, or someone else? Definitely the youth group and my home church when I was growing up. They're very supportive of me. They were very good guides in kind of steering me towards the ministry field. They saw my calling to be a minister before I saw it. While I was still dwelling on becoming a medical doctor, they said, you'll make a good pastor. So they saw it before I did, and they were very supportive of me when I finally realized it and said, I want to go for this. My family has definitely been supportive of me. My in-laws have been supportive of me. Wasn't really involved in sports too much, but I'm sure if I found a local intramural sports team, something like that, they'd be supportive. Was never involved in the military. But what about you all? In what group have you felt closest to and the most supported? Let me know in the comments below. Number 7, how much do you feel a need in your life for support from other people right now? I really feel that need. I recognize that need, and thankfully it is being met. I want to move in that direction, but I feel a little uptight about it. Strong people can stand on their own. I'm doing all right. Giving and receiving people's help is easier said than done. Something else. I mean, definitely I can see the answer. I can see validity in the answer of it's easier said than done to receive help. Especially in our culture, American culture, we're almost bred to believe in self-sufficiency, independence, and when we realize we can't do it by ourselves, when we realize we can't be self-sufficient, we can't do everything on our own, we need help along the way, admitting that vulnerability, asking for that help is very hard. It can be. It's a lot easier to help someone than to ask someone to help you. Because in the first instance, you're strong. You're pulling them up out of the dirt, essentially. The second one, you have to admit that you have fallen and that you can't get up by yourself. That's not an easy thing to do. Admitting one's vulnerability is probably one of the greatest flaws of the human race, I would argue. We love viewing ourselves as strong, self-sufficient, invulnerable, all of these wonderful things, but then when those realities come when reality comes crashing down around us and we realize, hey, we're not invulnerable, we're not able to be completely self-sufficient. There is a certain level of self-sufficiency that we can attain, but we need others in our lives. We do. We need help in certain situations. So definitely I can see validity in that. For me, personally, I recognize my need for support and I feel like that is being met. I have a congregation that's very supportive of me. I'm very supportive of them in return. I have a wife who supports me. I have a family that supports me, in-laws that support me. Granted, we can't be physically there for each other due to the pandemic and also because of all the miles between us physically, but at the same time, I know that they're only a phone call away. I know that they're here in spirit, they're supportive. And definitely with the pandemic going on, with being so far away from home, with everything that usually happens at church not happening because of the pandemic, you're realizing just how much I am missing my family, my friends. I think I'm realizing more just how much I am in need of support. But anyway, what about you all? How much do you feel a need for support from others right now? Let me know in the comments below. Last question, how can this group support you in prayer now and in the coming week? As always, if you do have prayer requests, please email me, call me, shoot me a text, communicate with me somehow. I am more than willing to pray with you all, pray for you all, bring joys and concerns up on Sundays with joys and concerns and the prayers of the people, whatever you want. Just let me know. I'm here for you all. Anyway, until tomorrow, stay well, stay safe. God bless.